Okay, here's a test for our people there listening to the stream. Please put comments. We love hearing from you, and let us know how the sound is doing. Now, Ramona actually goes around, so she won't be as close as I am right now. But anytime, just let us know, and it will be super helpful. Your feedback really helps us, and we're just gonna have fun. So I have lots of emojis ready. Right now, there's not a ton of sound, just because there's the sound of anticipation. That's what this is. This is really good. I mean, sometimes you have people who are like, they're buzz, 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 and then we start, and then you guys are like, we just want to go. We want to hear these stories. I can tell. I can tell. All right, let us. Oh, perfect. Okay, so I'm hearing that we are being heard. You can hear us. That's great. Again, let us know, throughout. We want to be here for you, and this is interesting with hybrid. It's like we're everywhere, right? Okay. Okay, and thank you, Claire. You might be my official person just to make sure, because sometimes people are shy about those comments on YouTube. So Claire, I really appreciate you. I'm sure all of you really appreciate Claire, because that helps us as well. I know that we'll always have people that will trickle in, but that's okay. I think we're gonna get started.
Yeah.
Sounds great. But in order to get started, you need to know a few things. Okay. Oh, and first off, they probably want the bigger screen. All right. Just figured that you prefer the bigger version, because obviously in person gets the nice, bigger version, right here. And this is the Hedman Home. So welcome. This is the 76th house concert. Okay, that's sure cute to go, yeah. Now, if you're at home, don't worry, you can applaud. It's okay. You don't have to feel self-conscious about it. You can just do that. Doesn't matter who else is watching you going, what are they doing? It's okay. This is what we do, right? And another way, you guys can show emojis. That's a really good way to show applause as well. And we also want to thank just the existing with Story Crossroads. We're actually going to go on our 9th Summit and Festival. It's hybrid in May of 2024. And so there are bookmarks over there, but for those of you there, storycrossroads.org, just explore it. And we have so many wonderful funders. So every year since the beginning, we have actually had Utah Humanities help fund us. And then we've also had the Utah Division of Arts Museums. We've had the Western States Arts Federation, the Salt Lake City Arts Council, the Zoo Arts and Parks of Salt Lake County, or also known as ZAP. We really appreciate that. But guess what? We also do this fundraising series of house concerts, and we invite people to come and enjoy, whether or not they donate, but we want people to experience the art, because it's an amazing art. It's not an invisible art. It's not a fading art. It is always apparent art. It's always been here. And even though sometimes the children art, you might say, like music and theater, gets a lot of attention, deep down, the good stuff, there's story, right? We know that. Now, a few things. If we can have things muted, so let's say if there's any kind of sound coming from a device, or if you have a phone, just make sure that that is on silent. So that will help a lot. And this will be very interactive. So I bet you're not going to want to even be on there. You're going to want to actually be right here. So do the best you can, right? Okay. So you ready? This, everybody, is Ramona Lucius with Hands-On Folktales. She has been doing this thing for a long time. She didn't start out in Utah. And then she came like that. She can describe all the details, but she's been traveling and she's been doing this a long time. And she loves getting people involved. So doesn't matter your age, get ready to do that. And you at home, she is going to expect that. I know. So let's give a nice round of applause to Ramona Lucius.
Thank you and welcome. So my name's Ramona, and I'm here from Hands-On Folktales, where we tell the story together. So I'm going to say that one more time so you hear me at home too. We tell the story together. So everyone in this room, by the time you leave, you will be a storyteller. So who here and who at home knows the difference between a story and a folktale? I want you to raise your hand if you do, and at home, if you do, I want you to comment, and Rachel will let me know. She'll raise her hand, okay? So who here knows the difference between a story and a folktale? Beth, go ahead.
Well, sometimes a story is like something to entertain, but a folktale is also to entertain, but it's more based off of something like, for example, the Native American folktale. That's like how they believe things were created.
So that's very good. So it was an audience member shared with us. The difference is one is instructional, perhaps, and one is more for entertainment. Did I get that right? Yeah. Okay. And back here, Alexis. Very good. So Alexis described what a story is. Beginning, middle, and end. And a folktale might not be true. Those are all true things. And I'm going to tell you something else that's true about a folktale. Now, we have to make a folktale together. You see, a story is only a story until you decide to tell it. So if you tell it to your child, and one day your child tells it to their child, and generations pass, and we all still want to tell the same story, well, that is how a folk tale is born. We will continue that tradition by learning how to be storytellers. So do you know then what a folk tale really is? It's your messages from your grandmother's grandmother's grandmother, the messages, the instructions, the things they hoped you would know. But not all of our ancestors could read or write or leave us a book of their knowledge. So we pass it to each other through love and through story. So today, we are going to tell two folk tales. And they're both about the idea that we're better when we are together. You know, folk tales give us instructions like, stay away from the woods at night, avoid strangers. And another very popular saying and phrase that we get from folk tales: if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. So today our duet that you're helping me tell. Oh wait, you know what I just realized? I've got to teach you how to tell the story with me. So let's start with something a little easier, like a poem. So I'm going to split us up into 3 parts. So you at home and the lovely lady with the blue pants and the person who answered my question, everyone from that side over, and this side, we're going to be very mindful and very loud, okay? So first, I want this side, the mighty and loud side. I want you to think of how a horn sounds. A trumpet, a trombone, any kind of horn. And now I want you to think, how can you make that sound with your body? Not your phone, but your body. You can use anything around you. You can use your voice. And you can use anything, but I want you to start practicing that sound. Now, everyone in the middle here, I want you to clap. Well, actually, I'm not going to say clap your hands together. You sure can, but you're going to give me the sound of cymbal. So the cymbal is the instrument that comes together in a crashing sound. So you can use your hands, you can use your feet, you can use the things around you, but I want to hear cymbal. And you should be practicing horn right now, by the way. This is your chance. All right, cymbal. And for everyone at home, Now, what, if you can't hear me at any time, let Rachel know and she'll give me a signal and I'll get closer to the mic. But for right now, I want you to practice a drum. So you can beat on your belly, you can make rhythm sound, use your keys, use the things around you. It's a great time to get pots and pans. So everyone, I'm gonna give you a moment to find your sound. Horns, cymbals, and drums. Nice. Oh, fall away, and you at home let fall away too. Okay, so when I point to your side, you are going to play your sound. Now, if when I point to you, I raise my hands up and down like this, I want you to play your sound louder. Now, if I wiggle my fingers down like this, I want you to play your sound soft. Now, if I raise my hand above my head, we're going to let all that sound fall away. But if I raise my hand in a circle above my head, we're all going to play our parts at the very same time. Do we got it?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Now we're going to do a poem by Shel Silverstein. And this poem is called Orchestra. All right, so where are my horns? Raise your hand. Okay, and where are my cymbals? Raise your hand. And my drums are at home. Oh, okay. Nice, thank you, Rachel.
I'm representing drums here.
Yes, Rachel raised her hand. Okay, now when we begin, I'm going to make a circle in the air. And when I do, we'll let our conversation and our phones and such fall away, okay? You ready to start with me?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you haven't got a horn? Well, you could play your notes. Well, you haven't any drums? Well, you could just play your belly. Yeah, we don't have any cymbals, but we can clap our hands together. Clap our hands together. And though there may be orchestras that sound a little better, with their fancy, shiny instruments that cost an awful lot, we're making music twice as good, just playing what we got. Very good.
And let's give credit to Claire, who in comments made drum noises.
Thank you, Claire, for making drum noises. I'm going to applause for you too. All right, everybody. So you just told your first poem with me. So now I think we're ready to tell a story, huh? Yeah?
Yeah.
So our first story is a Haitian Creole tale called Little John Lost and Found. Now, let's talk about Little John. Who here has heard, or at home, has heard of John the Conqueror? Yes, yes, very good. John the Conqueror is an American legend folktale hero. John's story spread all over the Americas, through islands, Jamaica, the Bahamas, Haiti, Dominican Republic, through South America, through Central America, from east to west. any place in this space where people were enslaved, his story spread. His was the story of hope. John the Conqueror was the son of a king, and he was stolen to the Americas through slavery. And even though he was enslaved, there are things you cannot take from a person, like their kindness, their wisdom, their bravery, their dignity, their respect, and their strength. And this was the story of John the Conqueror. Did you know that John the Conqueror could fly? He could fly anywhere. He could also take pain from you. If you were feeling sad, mad, if you were in pain, if something horrible was happening, he could fly, and he might come right here and save us right now. And that is how his story traveled from mine to plantation to farm, everywhere, without email, without phones, without even letters. People told that story. And this is the story of little John when he was a child. You see, little John could fly because he had a touch of the divine. And we're going to learn how he got that today. So, to prepare for our little John's story, you're going to have to help me out again, just the way you did with the poem. This time, we're all going to do it together. I want you to give me bird song. Think about how a bird sounds. Any bird, your favorite bird. And I want you to, wherever you are, come up with a bird sound. Go ahead. Very good. I'm hearing some bird songs. How's it going at home? Do we have some good bird songs? Yeah? All right. The next thing I want you to give me, this is a little harder. I need you to give me some music I can dance to. I mean that. I need a rhythm. I need some sound. Use your keys, use yourself, but I want to hear it. Make music I can dance to. Very good. All right. Now there may be some surprises along our way today as we go on this journey. So we're going to listen close and be ready to keep telling our story. So our story begins with little John in Utah. I said Utah. So this is an important idea. What's an important thing about little John tales? Every one of them must include a piece of the now, the right here. It's one of the reasons this story spread of hope. So this story takes place when it's very hot outside, so we won't use the weather, but we will use the place. Little John is in Utah on a beautiful beach. Who here's been to a beautiful beach here? Oh, me too. And it is a hot day, and the sun is beating down, as we all know the sun does here. And little John is walking with his friends, though he's having a good time. And he walks onto the hot sand. Ooh, it's a little too hot. And he gets away from his friends because he wants to find something cool, someplace cool to be. And as he explores, and as he travels on that beach he's been on many times before, well, he really did find something new today. There was a cavern, like a cave, on the beach. Now, little John had never seen this before. And you know what little John did? He went exploring, that's right. And he he walked into the cave. It was very nice and cool. It was dark. And as he walked further and further in, he saw a hole in the ground. And you know how he saw it in that dark, dark cave? There was light coming in. Light. And as he got closer, well, he could see something green down there. It must be grass. But wait a minute. How could there be light in a hole in there? It can't be that far down. And little John decided to jump. And it was much further down than he thought. Oh, but there were lights everywhere, and as he landed, he did not land on green grass, but he landed softly on blue grass. And when he looked up, he saw the sky was green. The sky was green, and the grass was blue. And it looked like the sun and the moon were talking to each other in the sky. What an amazing place, and definitely not home. How does he get home? Little John realized this jump was much further than he thought, and there is nothing to climb up or get back. And how does he get back? Oh. Little John realized he's lost. Little John didn't know what to do, so he started walking. Hello? He started looking for someone, anyone. And there was no one, but he could hear birdsong. Well, little John looked around in a circle, and then when he turned right back where he started, there was a man in the distance. It seemed to look like a man. And he was moving kind of funny, like he wasn't running, but he wasn't walking either. Was he dancing? He was dancing music. And that man was dancing next to Little John. And Little John said to that man, I'm John, I'm lost, can you help me? And the man looked at Little John and said, yes, I can. Now, if you want to get home, and from the looks of it, I think I know where your home might be. If you want to get home, well, you're going to have to follow my advice. So, with that, the man turned around and almost like magic behind him, pulled out a sack, and not a small sack. It was big. And the man told him, now listen here. There are 3 beasts that block your path. That's right, 3. And they are mean, and they are big. And they're probably hungry. Now, if you want to get past those 3 great beasts, you're going to have to follow my advice. And with that, the man reached in the bag and he brought out beautiful foxglove flowers. Now, if anyone here knows about foxglove, you know those flowers are poisonous. They're dangerous. They can cause you to get more than sick. And the man said, you see these flowers? Ooh, they look pretty, but they will make you sick. Yes, they will. And then the man pulled something else out of the sack, and this time it was a cooking pot with a lid on it. And the man said, ooh, don't open this right now. This is beef stew, but it's been in my kitchen so long. You could call it beef ew. Ooh, this makes someone very sick indeed. And he put that down. And now he reached for one more thing in this great big sack, and he pulled out bananas Oh, these bananas look ripe. Ooh, but they are so old. Oh, you're going to use these 3 to get past each beast. Offer them these flowers, this beef, you, and these bananas, and you will find your way home. Little John was not used to being mean. He was taught to be nice to people. And, well, these creatures might not be people, maybe even they're monsters, but he'd never met them before. How can you be mean? Like, just to someone you haven't met, to someone you don't even know. Well, Little John took the sack full of those 3 things, foods, if you want to call it that, and he went walking. Oh, but then he realized, he turned around to ask the man which way to go, and the man was gone. Just that quick. And behind him there had been a field. Oh, Little John turned in a circle again. Where did you go? And right there in front of him was another tavern. Just here. Well, Little John was scared, but he was brave too. So he walked right in. And when he got in there, well, do you know what he heard? A buzzing sound, a low, humming, buzzing sound. Oh, he got so scared. He walked right back out. No, 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 no. Oh! What do you think that was? You think it was a dragon or what if it was a buzzing? What could it be? And while he was looking around, he heard bird song. But this time, he saw a bird. And he followed that bird all the way to a tree. And this tree had bananas on it. Little John looked at that sack and he just, he was scared, but he couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it. And he emptied out the sack right there and he decided, I'm going to get bananas, the good bananas. And that's what I'll do. I'll offer the bananas. And so he climbs up the tree and he gets the fresh bananas and he puts them in his sack and he starts to turn around, ready to go to the cavern. And as he's turning, you know what he heard? Bird song. And again he saw that bird and he followed it all the way to a big bush full of berries. And he plucked those berries and he put the berries in his sack. And he went ahead and turned around, ready to face the cavern, kind of ready, gonna face the cavern. And when he turned around, do you know what he heard? Bird song. The flowers, beautiful flowers, all different kinds of wildflowers. They were gorgeous, just like the ones he'd find on the mountain. And Little John now had a sack full of flowers and food, and he turned around, ready to find that cavern. And he did. The moment he turned around, it was right there beside him. And he could already feel in the ground that buzzing sound. Oh, and the buzzing got worse. Could you help me with that buzzing sound? I want to hear it from you too. That's right, buzzing. And he kept walking forward. And then he saw it. A great, big, gigantic baby. Oh, and it was buzzing. And it was moving. And it looked very angry. And Little John froze. And he said, my name is John, I'm lost, can you help me? And the bee stopped buzzing and looked at Little John. And John didn't know what to do, so he just reached for the bag and found a bunch of flowers and the bee began to buzz with excitement. The bee began to buzz and it was so happy. This this stranger had brought it a gift? Did you know that bees, well, they tell other bees how to find flowers by dancing? That's right, bees really do dance maps. And that's what this bee did. Oh, he began to wiggle. Wiggling just so. Oh, you're going to help me with our wiggle dance too. I want you to wiggle. And he began to show little John how to get home. And he said, I need you to wiggle and go back the way you came. Yep, that's right. Just go right back. And little John started to walk out of the cave. He grabbed this sack. And when he did, he turned around at the entrance. And guess what? He was already at the mouth of another cave. Just that fast. And this one was bigger. All right, thought little John. All right. And he began to walk into this much bigger cave. And there he could hear a growling. Oh, a deep, guttural growling. Little John steeled himself. Because you know what bravery is. You don't feel brave before you do something. You're scared, and you do it anyway. That's bravery. And little John, he was brave. So he walked into this cave, and the growling got louder. It felt like an earthquake. Everything was moving. And before you know it, standing in front of him was a gargantuan, as tall as the ceiling there. As tall as the ceiling here. Giant mongoose. A mongoose. Have you ever heard of a mongoose? A mongoose will fight a snake, I mean a cobra. A mongoose can be quite scary, and this one was growling. And little John didn't know what to do. He said, I'm John, I'm lost. Will you help me? And the great beast looked down at him and kept growling. Little John reached in the sack and he pulled out some berries. Here, I brought these. And the mongoose stopped growling. In fact, the mongoose started to purr. They really do purr. Just like cats. Let me hear you purr. And he was so happy. The stranger had brought him a gift. And the mongoose said, oh, I can help you get out of here. You just have to dance back the way you came. Now, I saw you wiggle your way here. But, well, have you ever swayed? That's right, I want you to sway. And you're going to walk right back the way you came. Oh, but don't lose your wiggle. Don't lose your wiggle and don't lose your sway. Come on now and walk this way. And little John took his sack, got to the front of that cave. He turned around, and before you know it, guess what? The very biggest of the cavernous caves, the very tallest and scariest, stood right in front of him. He was brave, so he walked right in this time, and right in him. Well, he didn't expect that. It was a giant iguana, just as tall could be. And he wasn't purring, and he wasn't buzzing. He was scratching into the earth. Scratch, 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 like he was going to dig a gigantic hole. And little John probably said, my name is John, and I'm lost. Can you help me? And he reached into his sack, pulled out the fresh bananas, and said, I brought you this. And that great dragon-like beast stopped digging, stopped scratching, and looked at little John just as surprised as it could be, and said to him, I can help you find your way home. He was so happy to be this kind stranger. And he said, I've seen you wiggle and I've seen you sway, but I've never seen you walk this way. And he showed him a brand new dance where he was swaying and wiggling and kind of hopping, sort of. And he walked back the way he came. And this time he found himself in a field. The same place he started. And the sky was green and the grass was blue. This was home. And he turned around looking and he heard birds song. When he turned to find the bird, he saw that dancing man. And that dancing man was moving. Give me some music. And he said to him, John, you're trying to find your way home, but don't you know, you've been on the right path all along. So walk backwards the way you came, and you'll find your way. And little John began to just walk backwards. And soon enough, he felt the edge of, it was a hole. And there were lights inside of it. And he didn't hesitate. He jumped right down. And he was back in that cave on the beach. And when he ran outside to tell all his friends about this grand adventure, well, he could never find Lost again. But from that day forward, he never fell hard again. It was the first of his beginning to fly. And that is the story of little John and how he found his way home. Give yourselves a round of applause. All right. So what do you think of little John? What did you think of that story? You liked it?
Very interesting.
So this story has been told in different ways for a long, long time. Why? What did you hear out of that story that someone might want to pass down? Anyone at home too? What did you hear?
I really enjoyed how he fell up and he found Lost. Just all of it, oxymoron.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so one of our audience members liked the oxymoron. So two things that aren't alike that go together. And so he fell up and he found Lost. Why is another reason the story might be told? Why do we pass it down?
Well, he was, instead of using the poisonous things to conquer the bad guys, he used kindness.
Exactly. Thank you. And he just shared with us, instead of using the poisonous things, he used kindness. Yes.
I kind of like how, like the kind of concept where the bad guys aren't really the bad guys, but they just have to be approached in a certain way.
And that's a great point. The bad guys aren't really the bad guys. You just have to approach people or even monsters in a certain way. Yes.
I appreciate that little John had the courage to ask for help, especially because we tell children don't talk to strangers, but sometimes you have to ask for help. And as adults, you don't want to ask for help because you're afraid that you'll look dumb. And you don't want to look dumb, so then you won't ask for help, which will make you stay dumb.
Yeah.
So asking for help is a hard thing to do, and you need some courage to do it.
That's a great observation. Asking for help is a hard thing to do. You have to be courageous, to not be afraid of what people will think. And if you're going to ask a question and you're worried about people thinking that maybe you don't know enough, well, you'll never know enough. Another thing I want to show, oh, yes.
I just liked at the end how, in order to get where he wanted to go, he had to go back to where he started. Getting back to your roots.
Exactly. And so she just shared with us, in order to get where he wanted to go, he had to go back to where he started to get back to his roots. I also want to share with you something that I think is beautiful in this story, and it is old. The idea that just because you haven't met a situation or a person doesn't mean they're bad. We have this idea often that the unknown could be bad, but here we see that perhaps the unknown is simply that, unknown. And if we greet each other and meet each other with kindness, maybe we'll all find something. All right. So that was our first story duet. If you want to take a quick water break or use the bathroom, now's your time. I'm going to give you 3 minutes. This was Margaret if it was. You may not be assigned now.
So while we're taking just a little bit of a stretch break, I just want you to know that we keep having these house concerts. And so just so you know, the next one is actually going to be December 29th. It's a Friday night, and it will be in Draper, so still the Salt Lake Valley. And there'll be bookmarks later that you can grab, and it will tell you our upcoming events. We do at least 2 events every month. In fact, this Saturday, weirdly, is our next one. But that one is completely virtual. So we have a virtual workshop series. We've done over 40 now. And then we just love it. And we have Alton Chung, he'll be teaching, finding the heart of the story, crafting historic stories. So that's gonna be wonderful. If you've never seen Alton perform, you'll see why he's the person to teach that kind of thing. So, okay, I think we're back.
Yeah, I think.
All right. Let's warm up our hands. Round of applause to Ramona Lucius.
Thank you again. So now we're going to switch our countries and we're going to tell a story that is 500 years old and from the kingdom of Dahomey, which is a space that we now know as Benin, which is a country in the continent of Africa. Now this story goes back to the time where we used to have dowries. Does everyone know what a dowry is? Everybody at home know? I'll tell you. So a long time ago, if you wanted to get married, you had to give 3 goats, a cow, and maybe a bag of grain. You had to give a gift before you could get married to the family of the person that you were going to marry into. It was very important, and the more expensive and nice and rare the gift, well, the more you must love me, the better this will go. So it was very important to have a good dowry. And can you imagine the kind of dowry you'd need if you were a king? And that is where our story will start today. But, well, now you're old hands at being a storyteller. So you're perfectly ready, I'm sure, to give me a journey song. Now, I don't mean the journey to bed. I mean a song that we can take as we're going on a journey together. So give me a song for walking. All right, let's try that one. I like that. Okay, so now we have our walking song. We committed that to memory, and you at home join us in a walking song too. So Now I need a sound of celebration. And I mean a big party. Are you ready? Give me a celebration sound. Very good. Very good. So now we have our sound of celebration, we have our journey song, and let's go together to the kingdom of the Dahomey Empire. That didn't sound right. The Dahomey Empire. Now here we have a king, Dadasekba, and he is known, well, for being kind of a trickster, for being funny, and well, you know what you do when a king makes a joke, whether it's funny or not, you laugh. And today, well, the king had been chuckling to himself. And everybody was very nervous. And the king called everyone together in a great big hall. The king said to everybody, I am ready to find a wife. I'm ready to find your future queen. And I have my dowry planned, and I need your help to find her. And my dowry is going to be one cowrie shell. Queen with one teeny tiny cowrie shell. So, servants. Yes. Who's gonna help me find her? Oh, you're right, it got very quiet in that room very quickly. Who's gonna help me find her? And nobody made a move except the servant way in the back. That's right, go ahead and look, everybody, the servant way in the back. And that servant's name was Yo. That's right, the servant's name was Yo. And I think it's probably why we say Yo today. Yo.
Yo.
Yo. And Yo raised his hand and said, I'll do it. Now, Yo was known for being very clever, very smart indeed. And once the king left the room and Yo held that one cowrie shell, everyone really started laughing. You're gonna find a queen with one cowrie shell? Good luck. I'll see you. You're not coming back, are you? Yeah. And everyone was joking and chuckling. And somebody in the back yelled out, maybe you can get a piece of fruit for that shell. When everyone was chuckling and fine, Yo thought about that, you know? I could get a piece of flint for this. And that's what Yo did. He went and found someone to trade a piece of flint for this shell, and now Yo had a piece of flint. And a dream. He went walking. Give me the walking music. And Yo didn't have to walk too far before he saw an elder, and she looked very upset. Oh, she was stomping on the ground and she was frowning. And Yo went up to her and said, ma'am, how can I help you? Are you okay? Oh, she said, oh, these grasshoppers are all in the hay, and I can't get rid of them. They're just hopping around. And Yo thought, I have a piece of flint here. I can spark the flint and set some smoke, and I can get rid of all those grasshoppers for you. And that's exactly what Yo did. And he took a bag and he collected all these grasshoppers, and now Yo had a bag of grasshoppers.
Yay.
It's something. And Yo went walking. Before he saw another elder. Oh, and she looked just as upset as the first. Oh. And Yo, he looked at her and he said, ma'am, how may I help you? You look upset. And she said, oh, these chickens, They keep getting into my beans. Oh, they're gonna eat them all. And you thought about it, and he said, ma'am, I have a bag of grasshoppers. I could feed your chickens these grasshoppers. And she was so happy. Do you know what she did? She was so nice. She gave Yo a whole mess of beans. So now Yo had a bag of beans. He was walking.
Dun, 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 dun.
And he didn't have to go far at all before he came to the water, and he saw a very angry looking fisherman. Now, this fisherman wasn't just angry, he was angry. And he wasn't actually catching any fish. And Yo came up to him and said, sir, how can I help you? Are you okay? And the fisherman said, the fish. I'm used to you're not doing anything. I'm not going to eat today. I'm very hungry. And Yo said to him, I could toss some of these beans on the water, and the fish, they might think that they're bugs, not beans. And then we could catch some fish. And Yo helped him. He threw some beans on the water, and that's exactly what happened. The fish came up, and they caught so much fish. The fisherman was so glad he shared a bunch of fish with Yo, and Yo still had beans left over. So now he had and a bunch of fish.
Yeah.
And he went walking.
Dun, 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 dun.
And he didn't have to walk long at all before he came up to a blacksmith. And the blacksmith looked upset. Blacksmith was just sitting there. He wasn't doing any smithing at all. And Yo came up to him and said, are you okay? How are you? And the blacksmith told him, I'm very hungry. I haven't eaten yet today. It's hot in here. I'm getting irritated. And Yo shared his fish with the blacksmith. He shared his fish with the blacksmith. The blacksmith was so happy, so satiated. He gave Yo a bunch of old tools. And so now, Yo had
Beans and fish and tools.
so flint, beans, fish, tools, nothing.
Yeah.
And he went walking.
Dun, 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 dun.
And he didn't have to walk far before he came upon a bakery. But he smelled. Neither do I. Nothing was cooking. There was no wafting smell of bread in the air. And Yo went in and said, hello. Do you have anything to eat here? And the baker was crying. Exactly. And Yo thought to himself, well, I have beans, I don't have any. What can I do? And he said to the baker, well, good luck. And he went walking, but not far after, he came upon a farmer. And the farmer was kicking his equipment because it just wouldn't work. And Yo helped him fix that plow. You know what the farmer gave him?
Some great
Wow.
flour.
Yes. And now Yo had flour, but he had a decision to make. See, it was getting kind of heavy. All of these things he was carrying. But she was crying. So he decided to go back. And he went to the baker and he gave her some flour. And do you know how happy she was? She baked him so much food. Oh, she gave him so much food. He had a whole other sack just for that. And now, oh, he had a harder time walking. Could you give me some walking music?
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun.
That's very heavy. And so Yo went walking all the way to another kingdom. And when he got there, all of these things he had, he went to the king, he asked for the beautiful princess's hand in marriage for his king. And the king said yes, she married Darasepa. And everyone was so excited. They celebrated. And no one was more excited than Yo. He did it. He got it with one shell, and now a queen is coming back to his kingdom. He was so excited that he was celebrating kind of loudly around the corner about doing this all with one cowrie shell. And you'll never guess who heard him. The princess. Now, this princess was not like the princess you see in many stories, because it said that yes, she was beautiful, but that's not it. She was no more for being smart than beautiful. And she heard Yo, one cowrie shell. She knew her worth. One cowrie shell. Oh, I'm not going across the street for one cowrie shell. And she thought for a moment and had a plan. She called for Yo. Yo! No. And Yo came right to her, and he was so excited. He said, "My future queen, how can I help you?" And the future queen said, "I'm so excited to meet my future king, but I can't imagine celebrating without my people, my community. So I need you to send a message to my future king and let him know that we will take a festival feast. We will take a feast. I want palm wine, and I want a calabash of greens." And she named all these delicious foods. And Yo took that message back to the king, and the king sent that. He sent all the food she asked for, 7 days worth, for her and her whole community. And you know what everybody did? Oh, they partied for a week. Let me hear you. And at the end of that week, she called for Yo, and she said, "Yo!" And Yo was there right on the spot. And he said, "How may I help you, my future queen?" And she said, "I am so excited to meet my future king. However, I could not go in these rags. Oh no, I'm going to need all of the finest fabrics. I'm going to need every piece of the newest fashions. I need everything here before I can go." And Yo sent that message to the king, and the king sent chests full of beautiful, soft, silky fabrics she'd never seen before. Some glimmered in the light. And she put every stitch of it on, all at once. And then she called for Yo again. Yo! And Yo, that's right. And Yo came as quickly as he could. He said, "My future queen, are you ready to go?" And she said, "No. I'm very excited to meet my future king and husband. But I think my hands look bare, don't you? And my neck, and my wrists. Wouldn't I look better in jewelry? Send it all of it. I want all of the finest things to adorn me, so I'm ready for my king." And he sent the message to the king, and the king sent treasure chests full of pearls and gold and jewels she'd never seen before. And she put every bit of it on. Talk about Yo having trouble walking.
Right.
And she went towards the kingdom, and everywhere she moved, people saw her. Even if they didn't know her, they saw her covered in jewels and all the finest silks. And they knew, well, we better bow and we better clap. And her entire way to that new kingdom, she was celebrating. And when she got there, she met her future king. Oh, Darasepa was so excited. I did all this with And when it was time to thank Yo, it was time for Yo's big reward. The king was laughing. He was chuckling to himself. And he told Yo, "You'll never believe what I got you. You'll never guess."
Wow.
But you know what? Yo took that one cowrie shell and he did what he did best. He turned that cowrie shell into a farm of his own. But that is a story for another day.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. And we got to be part of that. How cool is that? Round applause to Ramona as well as us. You guys writing stuff there in the comments. You were doing the adventuring music, you were doing bird songs and the buzzing. It was happening. And then we had just an adventure together. So another round of applause to everybody, whether you're in person, whether you're online, whether you're remote, and on. All right, so this is the part, virtual people, that you don't take part in. I'm sorry. They get the refreshments. So you guys get refreshments. So we have some strawberries, we have grapes, and we have cookies. And yes, the cookies do have gluten, but the grapes and strawberries do not. So just in case that is important. And then I would also like to remind you again that the next house concert is Friday, December 29th in Draper. But if you just go to our One Stop or grab one of our bookmarks, you scan the QR code or go to our One Stop, you will find what's coming up next. You won't miss out. And really, really don't miss out on our May festival, which we've had Ramona at our festival before, and we are just pleased to have her talent here on this stage. So again, round of applause to Ramona Lucius. All right. And for those who are virtual, I'm going to share the screen so that way you can see some of those announcements. And for you, go for it. Eat. I know. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
So it's got to be.
Thank you so much.